People who advocate for weed and its medicinal benefits don't actually care about the medicinal part. The majority just want to get stoned without getting judged for it. I just want to get high. If it helps other people at the same time, that's a silver lining, right? But unfortunately, I just want to get high isn't a socially accepted answer yet. It's starting to be more accepted, and it became illegal. So I'd imagine over the next decade, the medical benefits would be right up there with red wine and red meat. Every few years it switches. I think a large part of this stems from people not understanding what the high genuinely is. Some people still think that it makes you totally crazy and want to go around murdering people. It wasn't until I was stoned around my parents for the millionth time. Took them a while to even realize that I smoked weed, that they realized that it didn't give me some sort of psychosis, and that they'd rather be around high me than drunk me. And people still thinking that anyone who smokes weed are just lazy who don't work or do anything with their lives. That applies to seemingly any pastime that other people don't do for themselves either. Mayo, I have no desire to ever smoke weed, same with my mom. But she's in so much pain. I would love for her to be able to use medical marijuana. Same. I've never smoked weed or cigarettes otherwise. But if it helps people in pain, with anxiety, with their appetite, etc., I'm down for it. Why keep that from people? I sometimes don't realize how anxious I am, and I forget to eat. THC/CBD helps so much with it, to be honest. Like, I work in the liquor industry, and I can admit there's not much that liquor can help you with other than hard stuff if you have a glass of red once a week. But I've learned marijuana is so much more beneficial than alcohol. Like, it's a drug in the sense that it's medicine. We should treat it as such. I don't do it, but I just don't want people to get arrested for doing it regardless of the reason. Even totally ignoring the health and recreational aspects. We don't need to spend money to have people in jail for smoking a plant. Just dumb. Couldn't care less what others think. Just don't want to get arrested because I want to smoke a plant. The only situation where weed should be illegal is when operating a vehicle, and if you're underage. Kids don't need to be on drugs. And if you're pregnant, is not good for da baby. And if you're at your job and need to running on all cylinders. My mother hit menopause last year. She tots, turns, sleeps terrible. For the last 2 weeks she had been smoking before bed. Sleeps like a champ. Call it what you will. My mother got her life back. Fucking Todd. I hate that guy. Todd stole my wife and my air conditioning pair coil 1/4 foot x 3/8 410 a 20 meter polyethylene of protected insulated, copper heat resistant up to 120 deg.C. F, that's the real crime. HVACS is expensive as all hell. It's a net gain because a wife is much more expensive. A big reason I want it legalized is because I'm a daily user, non-medicinal, but that doesn't mean that I don't want it legalized to help others. The point is we all either want to use it or need to, and the government shouldn't be sending people to prison for it. A childhood friend of mine went from having 10+ seizures a day to less than 1 a week because of CBD and using marijuana medicinally. The marijuana industry was demonized years ago because powerful men didn't want people to start using hemp, which is more cost effective and better for the environment, instead of paper, plastic, wood. Hemp is so useful, but its name was smeared, and it got banned in the US in 1937. There are many reasons to want marijuana to be legalized. While some may want it for selfish reasons, we can't ignore that the medical benefits are great. I was looking for this. I myself am a recreational user, but my case best friend has manuscript and my grandpa has Parkinson's, and marijuana helps both of their symptoms a hell of a lot. I'm lucky I'm in Canada, so this is a non-issue for me now, but the reason I myself was advocating was for them. I would have been content just getting weed from my dealer as I always have, but they didn't have that connection, and not being able to obtain it legally would have impacted their quality of life dramatically. Literally, who gives a res why they advocate it? Both can be true at the same time. Because spreading misinformation belittles the whole fight. Because it's dangerous to tell people weed will cure people's ailments without considering the side effects. because it makes me want to choke people out when they tell me if I just smoke weed it will help my anxiety when weed made my anxiety so much worse. We should be accurate and realistic when talking about it, because when you spread lies and misinformation it is doing a disservice to the fight you're fighting. Edit. I don't literally wanna choke people out. But when I've had friends literally shove a bowl in my face and make me smoke more while I was having a panic attack, it is goddamn frustrating. Another edit. Impro weed, and I'm very aware of the medical benefits. The misinformation I'm talking about is the denial of side effects. I smoke for my anxiety. To each their own. But when you're dealing with anxiety you're willing to try anything to help, right? It's no magic pill. But for some it can help. High THC can make anxiety worse. CBD is what I would suggest for anyone to start with if they were interested in trying something. Finding something reliable where it was illegal was sending me up and down emotionally with each batch. Moving to a medical state allowed me the control over what I was using and has allowed me to find what does and doesn't work. Being honest is very important though. We need that on both sides of this fight. Clarity is key for people to make educated decisions about things. Saying one puff fixes all is no better than all the lies reefer madness preached. I smoke for my anxiety. I wish it worked like that for me. I've tried smoking at least a dozen times over the past 15 years now, hoping it would help my anxiety. I have acute social phobia and generalized anxiety, but all weed does is make my anxiety skyrocket. It doesn't matter where I smoke either, alone, with friends, at home, at a party, anywhere. I just start panicking. I know I'm just one person and everyone is different and yada yada, but weed is about the last thing I'd take for social phobia. Like, here, smoke this thing that will make you be able to actually feel the awkwardness in how long you paused in your sentence just now. I couldn't think of anything worse. It's the flip side of the empathy/ability to better model social interactions you get. If you're anxious about that stuff, taking something that makes mountains out of molehills isn't going to feel great unless it's part of CBT. I don't think the majority argue for medicinal benefits, they argue for legalization. Only upvoting because it's an unpopular opinion. It actually offers genuine relief for PTSD as well as relief from cancer symptoms. I speak as someone who had witnessed both firsthand. I haven't actually smoked in years. Yep, a family friend is an Iraq veteran, and it's the only thing that helps him. SSRIs and Xanax just made it worse for him. Drinking himself half to death certainly wasn't helping either. Never smoked in my life. I didn't care if people did it, but I've had pain in my hands and neck for like 5 years. A couple weeks ago I smoked for the first time, and for a whole week afterwards the pain was gone. It was actually amazing. So I'm all for medicinal purposes. I did not enjoy being high, but the pain relief was worth it. When I renewed my card I did it all online without speaking to a doctor, and the only relevant information I gave was that I have chronic pain in my back and knees. That's it. Nothing more in depth than that. I then submitted a selfie and paid the application fee. Few days later I have a card for 2 years. The entire industry is one big wink and nod. I like getting stoned, and sure most of the time I'm just watching TV when partaking. But that does not mean that it doesn't help medically. It helps me with anxiety, social interactions, sleep, being able to relax, and with the ability to focus. One's body knows very well what it needs and will automatically gravitate towards its needs. For example, I was low on magnesium a while back, had no clue about it, would love eating avocados, walnuts and mushrooms. Didn't realize that these are the foods that are high in magnesium. Then I got onto supplements and my love for avocados, mushrooms and walnuts has subsided rapidly. Similarly, some people gravitate towards marijuana, while some don't. Maybe it is their body telling them it needs the cure. I feel that is the case for me. Same here. Partaking in cannabis has helped tremendously with my tremors. I do not suffer from spastic movements anymore. Man, I did not like going to restaurants pre-cannabis. Nowadays, I can hold a glass of water and bring it to my mouth without drenching my hand and or people in my near vicinity. Life changer for me. I no longer feel like a fool. Well, for the most part. My body accepted the cure and I will always be grateful to the people that showed me the way. Thanks to fellow ents and the peeps in the stoner communities.